Hey, what's up, guys? Well, we made it halfway through 2020, and I'm not trying to freak you out, but astrologists are saying that the second half of the year is going to be even more wacko than the first. Which I guess that's not too hard to understand, given that we have an election coming up that people are just a little bit passionate about. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, the first half of the year hasn't gone anywhere near the way I thought it would. And that's not to suggest it's been a bad year so far. In fact, more than any other time in my life, I'm working hard not to hyper-control things. And that's not been easy, but there are definitely benefits to just staying present and open to where life is taking you. For example, I'm making progress on my first book every day, and I'm not that far away from being able to share the title and launch plans with you. And hopefully that'll include traveling to see many of you this fall. But let's talk about you. How has your year turned out compared to how you thought it would back in January? One of the best things about being self-employed is the ability to reflect and make course corrections anytime you want. If you want to change something, you don't have to ask a boss because you are the boss. Or you're a boss, aren't you? Anyway, this week in the mastermind group I lead, we hit the pause button and reflected on 6 questions to make sure everyone is positioned to make the most out of the last 6 months of 2020. And I want to share those questions with you, and as I do, my intention is to encourage you to let go of anything that you think you should be doing. Instead, think about what you want to do, because if you don't allow yourself to do what inspires you, what's the point of being self-employed? Okay, so question 1. When you think of the goals that you set in January, what has changed? Now, the point of this question is to help you acknowledge that it's okay to change, especially this year. It's possible that you no longer want what you said you wanted in January, and if so, that's okay. But what would suck would be going through the next 6 months without acknowledging that change and just fighting life. Now, question 2. What have you done well so far this year? And the point of that question is to give you a chance to acknowledge the things that you've been able to accomplish that you should be proud of. I mean, with so much chaos in the world, it would be really easy to overlook the fact that some things have gone well for you. So ponder that question and tilt your mind in a positive direction. Question 3. What have you done this year that's left you feeling inspired and energized? This question helps you come into alignment with your natural talents and abilities. Dr. Dyer would always teach us that the way to inspire others is to live an inspired life. So even if the only people you care about inspiring are your children, it's important to deliberately do more of the things that inspire you. It's not selfish. In fact, it's living as a positive example. Now, question 4. What have you done this year that's left you feeling drained and feeling off course? And I ask this question because many of the things you come up with to answer that question could probably be dropped if you let yourself drop them. That's what you should be doing as your own boss. We all have to do things we'd rather not do at times, but when I'm coaching people, many times my role is to persuade people that it's okay to drop the things that they want to drop. Question 5. Which limiting beliefs have you allowed to hold you back this year? I didn't ask, do you have any limiting beliefs, because we all have them, so I asked which ones. For example, have you bought into a belief that it's harder to sell houses now because showings are operationally different? Or have you been telling yourself that it's harder to get listings these days? Whatever it is, it's likely just a story in your head. And the fastest way to break free from a story is to identify what benefit you derive from continuing to tell it. So if you have a knowledge gap, for example, with technology, then maybe you're telling yourself it's harder to get listings because then you get to avoid learning how to conduct an appointment via Zoom. And then question 6. What would make me feel like I really applied myself if I accomplished it in the next 6 months? Now, this last question is about your future self, and it helps you anchor in a direction that will keep you in that inspired space. Now, in the post below the video, I've typed out these questions so that you can sit with them and write out your answers. That's exactly what a top producer would do. So however you would define your version of a top producer life, I'm here to encourage you to go after it. The world can get as crazy as it wants in the next 6 months, and it still can't stop you when your intention is to stay inspired. Well, you guys, thanks for watching. Have fun with these questions, and before you leave, drop down and leave a comment. My name is Jason Edwards, and let's go think bigger this week.